Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is another Roma Press live stream. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for joining us yet again, only a few hours away from Roma, Slavia, Praha in the Europa League group stage, which will be an important match if Roma want to finish first in the group and not have to go through unnecessary playoff games like they did last season, which always takes a toll on Roma when they have to compete on two fronts at the same time. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here with me. I'm just going to start reading out the comments. I know we have some of our good patrons in the chat. We got Anthony. Hey Anthony, anyone find the link to the jacket Dybala was rocking? I assume Anthony is referring to the cool jacket that Dybala wore on the bench when visiting the bench on Sunday against Monza. So if anybody has an answer for Anthony, please drop it in the comments below. Hi, Andy. Is it true that the jersey that are sold at the official store is more expensive than usual? I got mine, a home jersey, for 62 euros back at my hometown in Asia. Just curious. Oh, absolutely. 62 euros? Are you kidding? That's a great deal. I'm pretty sure Roma right now are. I mean, anytime that I've seen the prices on the official store, it's double of that. It's 100, 120 euros easy. So consider yourself lucky. Well, as we wait for more people to come along, although I really doubt that today we'll see a big crowd in here. As I said, this is a live preview of the match that will take place at 9 p.m. local in Rome, the Stadio Olimpico. Slavia Praha are coming in hot. They had some really good performances in the recent period of time. Even Jose Mourinho said that he knows this is a team that could put Roma in danger. This is not a team that can be underestimated. No team can be underestimated, but the approach will definitely be different from, or hopefully will be different from, the one that we could have had against the likes of Servette and Sheriff Tiraspol. Slavia Praha are the favorites along with us to do some damage in this competition from this group. So hello Andy, don't comment much due to busy schedule, but just glad you do these. Oh, thank you so much, Amos. Thank you. That means the world to me that people like to tune in and will do so even in their busy schedule. So no problem if you can comment. I'm just glad to be well received wherever you are, whether it's at home or in the office. Thank you so much for bringing me there with you. We got Edmund saying, "Hi Andy, glad you're doing this live stream. Thank you for being here with me, Edmund. This match will be very important to our season. All the talk this week has been about the Inter game. I'm glad we get to talk about this game. Absolutely. It seems like people always, and not only people as in fans, but also media, and worse yet, the players, the coaches always have a hard time focusing on the smaller games that precede the big important matches. So in this case, we're talking about Inter. All of our attention seems to be about Inter on the weekend, on Sunday, packed San Siro Stadium, Inter Curva Nord. So the Ultras are ready to unleash hell upon Romelu Lukaku, who is set to make his first return to San Siro after having that falling out with Inter. And so the pressure with regards to that match is enormous, but that cannot take away from what Roma are expected to face and the way they should handle tonight's affair, which, as you say, is incredibly important because if you finish second in the group, as I said to start this live stream, you will have to play 2 additional playoff games, which is not ideal for a Roma team that wants to avoid injuries at all costs, that is already dealing with fatigue. So never ideal. If you can spare some energy, then good. Then do so. um, I'm scared. Wow, we have somebody who's scared. We had problems with 10-man Monza and only substitutions saved us at the death. Well, that is the story of the match that we saw on Sunday. Every match has a different story, so I wouldn't take what happened on Sunday against Monza, who have one way of playing, and the circumstances led us to play a certain way, and take it and put it into the same scenario with Slavia Praha, which is going to be a totally different game, different stakes involved, different players. Roma are expected to rotate, well, minimally, but still rotate some players. We'll get to the formation that we're expected to see tonight. So I wouldn't worry too much. If you can go from losing against Genoa in the way we did to then seemingly turning it all around, then anything's possible, right? um Guys, I would encourage everybody to click the like button. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. We are at 979 subscribers. We need to get to 1,000. That would be a great milestone for us, given that we've launched this channel only over a month ago. So that would be really good for us. And it would be encouraging to see this community getting bigger and bigger. So please click the like button. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. If you haven't followed us on social media, you can find us on Twitter at AS Roma Press. Same thing with Facebook. Same thing with Instagram, AS Roma Press. And if you like the show, if you like the website, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Roma Press. You can choose any plan you want and you can become a patron. And that means a lot to us because you're actually supporting our endeavors. So thank you so much. Also, to anybody who's tuning in for the first time, this is where we do the live streams. This is where you can find also the video episodes of the podcast. They're all right here. So if you like that, you can click on the little bell button on the subscribe, and you'll get notified whenever we are scheduling one of these or whenever we drop a new podcast episode in video format. So buongiorno, Richard. Thank you for being here. Joey, hi, Andy. Glad to be back watching live stream. We must focus on Slavia Praha, not think of Inter until tomorrow. Absolutely. Anthony says the goal tonight is win and stay healthy. Yes, it is. It is as simple as that in these games. More than anything else, it's about preserving health, not losing unnecessarily players. Because if you think about it, Mourinho, for example, took a chance on Renato Sanchez in that match with Sheriff Tiraspol. He tried to have Sanchez play an additional 45 minutes, and that was enough to force Sanchez to miss over a month of action. So we don't want that to happen to anybody else. Roma are already without Paulo Dybala, Lorenzo Pellegrini. Dybala is supposedly working to try and be back on the bench against Inter, but the chances of it happening are quite slim at the moment, whereas Lorenzo Pellegrini is expected to be back for the Derby della Capitale against Lazio on November 9th. So we have to handle business with the players that we have at our disposal. And as we said on a number of occasions, this Roma team has depth. So we will talk about the changes that Mourinho is pondering after the Monza match, which I think took a big toll in terms of physical effort for the team. Andrea Bellotti, for example, is expected to rest today. We have to take advantage of this fixture being at home. Yes, we will be playing again in another sold-out Stadio Olimpico. I've come to the conclusion AS Roma are the Rudies of Serie A, one of the best sports movie in my book, and Roma, all about passion. Well, yeah, But every sports movie is about passion. We can come up with a good list of sports movies. Remember the Titans, in a way, Jerry Maguire, I guess, and that's really about love and passion, both in your professional life and in your private life, right? So it's not only about show me the money; it's about you had me at hello. If you know, you know. Sorry for the references to 90s movies, but hey, I don't make the rules. Watching Lazio and Milan in the Champions League yesterday, I saw listless, unmotivated attitudes. I can withstand losses, but not unmotivated performances. I'm confident Roma are motivated today. It was really deflating to see Milan and Lazio play yesterday. Not even, as a obviously I loved seeing Feyenoord, a team that we officially own, whose daddy is Jose Mourinho, own Lazio in turn, but it was really discouraging to just see both Lazio and Milan flat out give up on whatever game awaited them. They lost from the get go. They never had a chance, both of those teams. So hopefully Roma can take it to the next level today and do Serie A justice on the European stage. I don't expect the team to look flat tonight. I think the stakes are pretty clear because I think the players are the first ones to notice when they have to play two additional games like they did last year. Uh, they are the ones that then mention it, that then have to go through with it, that have to do the additional traveling. So this Roma team has already played in the past 2 years, basically, I think 55 games each season. So that's a long schedule. That's a heck of a schedule. In football, I mean, that's in basketball terms. That's like playing the regular season and the playoffs, all the way to the finals, basically. Hi Andy, how many Primavera players should we use in the EL group games? Well, tonight I'm not all for it unless you secure the result in some outstanding fashion. We will have, I believe Mourinho mentioned 5 Primavera players available to play today. Unless we get a big score line on. I don't think in a game like this today, because today really it's a game of serious magnitude. People are very easy to dismiss, are very quick to dismiss these kinds of games, and we like to make fun. You can say, oh, we're gonna play against Czech baristas, but it's not true. What we saw from Slavia Praga is a team that is determined to make it out of the group stage, and Roma have again too much to lose by playing two additional games. So the stakes are very high, despite our immediate thoughts go to Inter on Sunday. That cannot be the focus, as a lot of you agreed on. Anthony, it appears the Inter Ultras are really gearing up to harass Lukaku. I don't understand where all the vitriol towards him comes from. Yeah, a lot of the leader of the Curva Nord, so the Inter Ultras, just released. Really, I mean, that's a really chilling statement, where he's basically saying we'll give Lukaku hell because he's a villain. He's not welcome here anymore. He betrayed us. We hate him, and we'll have whistles and we'll be booing him all game long. And then he has a final remark that is so weird because he ends with, and it has nothing to do with the color of his skin. So I assume they just went out of their way to sort of preemptively try to declare that they're not gonna that the chance that they're gonna invoke probably will not be of racist nature, which I seriously doubt it when ultras say those kinds of things. Will not, those monkey chants. They're not racist. No. We're just friendly. We're just friendly towards animals. No way, man. So yeah, it sounds nasty. It sounds uncalled for, because what did Lukaku do? Really, the only side of the story that we heard is the Inter side. So the fact that Lukaku was caught dealing with Juventus at the same time as he was supposedly negotiating his return to Inter. In the end, he ends up at Roma, so I don't know what the big trouble is for Inter. Just let it go, man. But as I said, we'll get to Inter after Slavia Praha. Right now, it's all about today. We can talk about the formation. Obviously, Rui Patricio will be on the bench. Miles VR takes over for his third start this season. The changes that will take place will be mostly on the wings, with Nicola Zaleski replacing Leonardo Spinazzola. Leonardo Spinazzola did not train yesterday, so I'm pretty sure he will not be called up today. Some physical issues, some fatigue, leftover fatigue, affecting him to the point that he will not be available tonight. We will also most likely see Zeki Selik in the starting lineup, with Rick Karsdorp set to rest. Let's remember, Rasmus Christensen is not eligible to play. He's not on Roma's UEFA list. Similarly to Sardar Azmoun, he will not be there tonight, not only because he's not eligible to play, but also because he has a calf muscle injury, and he is supposed to undergo some tests tomorrow to reveal whether he can be already called up against Inter or will have to miss some time. Evan Dika is going to start. Chris Smalling is going to the bench. Chris Smalling is supposedly recovered, but not to the extent that will allow him to start or get any significant minutes this evening. So Evan Dika will start along with Diego Llorente and Gianluca Mancini, which means Brian Cristante will get his return, long-awaited return to the midfield. And this inevitably will change the formation for Eduardo Bove and Houssem Aouar. Both of them will battle for the same position on the pitch. The only undisputed starters are Leandro Paredes and Brian Cristante in the midfield. So it's between Houssem Aouar and Eduardo Bove. Let me know, guys, what you think is the best choice there, because you can say anything you want, because both Houssem Aouar and Eduardo Bove are in need of minutes. Both of them, I think, to different degrees, have shown good things. So it would be encouraging for both to play, but only one of them will most likely start tonight. And finally, we will see Romelu Lukaku start again because of his importance to the team, which Jose Mourinho highlighted in his pre-match press conference. And then it will be most likely up to Stefan El Shaarawy, who scored a goal against Monza and could replace Andrea Belotti alongside Lukaku. Fosa says, bro, try and get yourself a microphone stand. I love your podcast. Great job. Thank you so much, Fosa. I have a microphone stand. It's at home. Right now I'm traveling, and when I'm traveling, it's not easy to have the microphone stand fit into that small cabin friendly suitcase which I carry with me. So they already gave me shit for the microphone at security. They had me basically strip the whole microphone down. I don't know what they thought it was, but I have the stand. It's just that I'm traveling. I'm living out of a suitcase, so not ideal. But I know it's much better with the stand. I apologize if the microphone is getting in the way. If the sound is not ideal, this is the best I can do for now. I saw somebody mention Field of Dreams as a sports movie. I absolutely love it. Again, not because it's about sports as a competition, but mostly about like the romantic side about sports. The fact that it comes down to just people. And Kevin Costner having those visions and dreams with Ray Liotta as the baseball player. Love it. Very, very nice. So thank you, Rocco, for that shout out. I really want Bove and Pagano to shine this season. Bove definitely. Pagano, I don't know if Mourinho is set on that. We saw Pagano to some extent in preseason, but so far not many minutes for him. I'm pretty sure if we win tonight, the remaining group stage games will be up for grabs for these young Primavera players. Thoughts on why Mourinho's red card activity given he feels that referees everywhere are out for him. Seems odd. He loses his cool so much. We need him on the bench. But Mourinho even said it himself yesterday, and I agree with him. He made it a point this season. First thing he said in his first press conference this season was, "I'm going to work on my relationship with the referees," and I think he was on track to do just that. I can't recall a moment where Mourinho really went out of his way to criticize a referee this season. What he did against Monza is something we saw Stefano Pioli do at the Stadio Olimpico at the start of September. So we saw Stefano Pioli do this to Mourinho at the Stadio Olimpico. We saw Massimiliano Allegri take off his jacket and do all kinds of weird shit. Nothing happened to them, and so I'm totally for the fact that in that instance, the reaction from the referee is over the top. The suspension is ridiculous. But I also see it from Roma's point of view, because I noticed a lot of people were calling for Roma to react, to protest, to appeal. But I think there's been so much tension between Roma and the Serie A officials the last season and the season before that to do anything could really compromise a hell of a lot more than just what we see on Twitter or how we think of it. I hope Lukaku scores, says Anthony, turns to the crowd and says, "Great ass," and you have heads all the way up it. Yeah, that's the Heat reference. 'Cause she's got a great ass, and you have your head all the way up it. Yeah. Let's see how deep is that V-neck, Candy? Sorry, this is my go-to T-shirt for when I have to go to the beach. It's very light, so I apologize for the for the views. Hi, Andy. Is Jose still serving his ban in this competition? Yes. Jose has to serve 4 Europa League games. This is our third. So it's unfortunate. I mean, it's really unfortunate that I can't see why that happened. But I don't know I mean, I also find it admirable that a team like Roma is able to handle these games, so many games without their manager. Like even last year was crazy, the amount of games him and Nuno Santos, because it always seems like Nuno Santos, even this time around, Nuno Santos is going to be banned for the Inter match. It always seems like whenever Mourinho is suspended, Nuno Santos is suspended. I don't know what these guys do. I don't know what Nuno Santos does with Mourinho. He is closer to Mourinho than any family relative I've had. Okay, the fact that this man follows him everywhere and gets suspended each time he gets suspended is fantastic. I love this relationship. So as I said, El Shaarawy favored to start. Houssem Aouar could start ahead of Bove, just as well as Bove could start ahead of Aouar. I do think out of the two, Aouar could benefit from some additional minutes, just because Mourinho is clearly trying to have Aouar embrace that role that is supposed to connect the midfield and the attack. So he's supposed to play as a hybrid between Dybala and Pellegrini. Right now, he's nowhere near what Mourinho wants of him. If there is one player that Mourinho, I wouldn't say openly criticized over the last few weeks, but definitely paid the special attention to, is Aouar. He, on a number of occasions, he said, we try to do this with him, but he is different. He's a different player. He does different things. So clearly, Aouar is not hitting the right keys at the moment. But I think if you keep playing him, if you give him that chance, he could unlock, perhaps not the way Dybala unlocks himself, but definitely do something interesting. This is a player that, as he declared himself, can score 7 to 8 goals a season. Right now, he's scored 2 in Serie A. I think he can be an important presence for Roma. Eduardo Bove has played a lot recently, but Eduardo Bove offers other things. Eduardo Bove is not a scorer. Eduardo Bove doesn't go that far up the pitch, whereas Hussein Mouar, if you let him, he will do that. Inter getting 2 days of extra rest and playing at home against us is madness. Yeah, well, but that also, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, it comes with the territory. You qualify for Champions League or you don't. I agree. The 2 days of rest is over the top, you know. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, can you qualify for Champions League? Inter did, so they play either on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and this time it happened that they had to play on Tuesday, whereas Roma, they qualify for Europa League, they play on Thursdays. End of conversation. I would love to be out there picketing this decision, but it is really up to the team. I don't mind Mourinho being banned. Training is where the manager makes the most impact. Knowing your coach has your back and has that passion is motivating. Absolutely. And also, let us not forget about the brilliance, the unique, the one and unforgettable Salvatore Foti, who will be on the sideline tonight and will be on the sideline against Inter. So the Salvatore Foti era is once again about to begin, or rather resume. um Hopefully he can bring some good energy to the bench. He's a it's this very, it's fascinating how quickly he was embraced by the team after that Sacramento exit in Mourinho's first season at the club. Foti just slotted right in. So it's very encouraging to see. I would be interested to know what happens with him once Mourinho leaves. And again, I'm just saying that in the remote future, so don't come at me. Um, is it because of the new system, team fitness issues, expecting more from Awar? Yeah, that's a good question. With Awar, I think it's, well, to a degree, it's fitness, right? Because the guy hadn't played much last season, almost not at all. And then he came here, and in those first opening weeks, he was relied very heavily upon. He gets injured, and then he has a hard time getting back. Once he gets back, it's Lorenzo Pellegrini and Paulo Dybala who get hurt. So Mourinho is in a position where he figures, okay, I'm just going to put a lot more responsibility on this player who hasn't yet adapted to the environment, to the demands of the team. So I think it's very similar to what Evan Dika is faced with, but perhaps even to a higher degree. But again, it would be interesting because Houssem Aouar, at his best at Lyon, was always a player with a clear drive and a clear eye for goal, with a lot of inventiveness, a lot of pace, a lot of technical ability that I think is just sitting there waiting to come out, you know? So, and also, this is a player that I think can get easily demoralized if you just keep sidelining him. You just keep postponing, you know, his usage, saying, "Oh, well, next game, you know, or this game you play, the next one you don't." No, I think this is the clear case of a player who is in desperate need of minutes, which happens to be the same for Eduardo Boves. So that's where you get the big dilemma. Guys, there's 43 of us. I appreciate each one of you tuning in, but I need more likes. We got only 23 likes. As soon as I say that, two people drop out of the live stream. That's the Andy effect. So Wavy, don't you all think that Mourinho would be a lightning rod for the shit that's coming Lukaku's way? Yes, they're grown men, but it still feels like we could use Moo's presence for the mentally for the team. Yeah, well, that's an interesting point. How does the team react against Inter, given this, you know, this very heated atmosphere that is supposedly going to take place on Sunday, as Inter fans are getting ready to greet Lukaku in quite the gives him quite the unwelcome, right? Because it's going to be pretty impressive to hear 30,000 whistles and boos at the same time each time you touch you touch the ball, and all of it is targeted as at your most important player. Yeah, you would definitely need somebody out there to calm things down, to also just, you know, to keep your cool, and each time remind you that, hey, you know, they are just watching. What happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Tonight, Slavia Praha fans have been banned from using choreography on at the Stadio Olimpico. It's very weird. I had already some Czech fans messaging me saying why. Supposedly the reason for this decision, which was made by the police, not by Roma, not by the authorities at the stadium, the police went out of their way to ban Slavia Praha's choreography, because the choreography was supposed to include the writing Ave Slavia. So, the old Roman hello. um, because the police figured that that was making fun of Julius Caesar. That's the weirdest. That's the weirdest explanation for something football related. Just, yeah, it's denigratory against of Julius Caesar. So what the hell? A Roman emperor from thousands of years ago, and only in Italy. Only in football and only in Italy. So I'm sorry for the Slavia Praha fans, because at the end of the day, that's part of the fun, right? So that's and there's 4,000 of them tonight. So a nice group of people. If Mourinho goes, oh no, this conversation, God, oh God. As much as I love Conte, he loves so many teams in a wake of destruction. The option scares me. Bumblebee Tunes, I always forget who you are behind this ridiculous username, but I'm not going to entertain this conversation again. Please, no, not at this time. I would prefer to have Belotti as a starter, says Gabriele Baranto, alongside Lukaku and Elsha as a super sub. I would too, but I'm pretty sure if Belotti was taken out at the 67th minute last on Sunday, it would mean that he's not maybe 100%. Maybe a bit tired. So maybe also Mourinho just wants to ride that wave of positivity that Elsha got from scoring that late winner. I said it on here. I said it on the podcast. El Sharawi, I agree with you, is a super sub, especially at this age. He is a super sub, especially with Lukaku. He is a super sub. So, sorry. Juan Pablo. Often when Mourinho is suspended, the team plays well. It's like a kid behaving when his mom is not present. Yeah, they want to make up, right, for his absence. Try to prove themselves with mommy watching from the stands. Absolutely, there's some truth to that. After Monza, how do we see De Gregorio? Will he deserve to be Roma goalkeeper next? I don't know how we view him. I'm pretty sure that, like anybody, any other goalkeeper in Italy, he is going to be considered as an option to replace Rui Patricio long term. Miles VR, leading up to tonight's match, was asked about this future. As asked about the fact whether he is expecting to become the number one goalkeeper once Rui Patricio leaves next summer. Well, they didn't openly say Rui Patricio leaves next summer, but is he hoping to become the number one goalkeeper next summer? And he just said, I'm just focused now. I have a lot of growing left to do, so we'll see then. I guess with Miles VR, it is really it really either works out great in your favor, like, oh wow, there is a hidden gem in this player, or he just walks because he's young, he wants to have more playing time. And if he can get playing time from Rui Patricio, from a 36-year-old Rui Patricio, then if Mourinho goes and no top four, he will be leaving us in wake of destruction. No Lukaku, Dybala, and only one developed players, Bove, while crushing Zalewski by playing him out of position for 2 years. Oh, God. Again, same answer as to Bumblebee Tunes. I will not be entertaining this conversation at this moment in time. Your mic is popping. I apologize. Let me. Also, I'll try to lower my tone. and not make any more Al Pacino impressions, since that may be too much for the microphone. Okay, well, I see that people basically came to the conclusion that tonight is a must-win game. We cannot think about Inter. We have people already trolling in the comments. Fire Mourinho, bring Eusebio Di Francesco back, save Roma. Again, guys, don't take these things so seriously. These are lovely people just out there trying to make enemies for themselves. So we will have Salvatore Foti on the touchline. We will have 5 Primavera players. If some of them get to play tonight, it means it's going well. Okay, so that's, I just want to put it out there. Don't get depressed that the team, it doesn't have a future because they have 17-year-olds playing, on a Thursday night. If they happen to play, it means that it's going well, and you can afford to have inexperienced players out there. So these are always games where you can try and test things out. The expectation, obviously, is Roma beat Slavia Praha. You're at your own home. You have a packed stadium behind you. You are the superior side. Will the lack of creativity be enough for Slavia to have a good chance against the? Sorry. Will the lack of creativity be enough for Slavia and to have a good chance against Inter, assuming Pellegrini, Dybala, Sanchez probably won't be there? Um, well, I think a big match against Inter is always so much more than just tactics involved. It really is. I wouldn't. I would say the perfect representation of what a big match like this is even the match against Inter at San Siro last year, where we win 2-1, but also the match against Juve, where Mancini scores and gives us a winner. Just Mancini of all people scores with a rocket strike from outside the box, and it's a beautiful goal, right? I think that encapsulates what these big matches, especially in Serie A, are all about. Very few times do you see, perhaps only between Inter and Milan, in recently, you saw a team that exactly knew what to do on the pitch and a team that was helpless. Usually, there is a lot of back and forth, a lot of tension, less quality, less passing percentage. Because you have two teams really wrestling it out. I think in on this occasion, if there is a stretch of matches that you can afford not to be creative in, or you can afford to not have your best players, it's probably this. You still have Lukaku. It will be important to see how how he carries the team. But tonight, it should be business as usual. It should be like a Monza match, where okay, it's tough, but the expectation is you win, and anything but a win is disappointing. Still about goalkeeper. If Roma play in knockout, will VR still start or Rui will start? That's a good question and hard to answer, because last season's VR did not get a decent run in the Europa League. As soon as Roma lost that opening match against Ludogorets, VR did not see the pitch until April. So I would assume that Mourinho would bet on VR, especially because even for him, even him, Mourinho, who's the biggest Rui Patricio fan, he acknowledged it in recent media appearances that Patricio has not been excellent. So I would imagine if VR is giving you the answers you seek in the Europa League, there is really no reason to pull him out, because then you're basically amputating your own leg. You're just stripping the team of another option. What happens to a player like VR if you keep giving him the start in a group stage game, and then when the spotlight really starts to shine on you, you pull him out? That's demoralizing as hell. I don't think Mourinho would go for that. How many games that has Mourinho missed from suspension? Anyone know? Not trolling, but I can't say his name apparently. Okay. Um, I think last year, could it have been like 6 games? I don't want to say something stupid, so if anybody can look it up, because the Roma press research team is on holiday. Hey Andy, late to the live stream. Good to be back. Thank you so much for taking the time, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for answering my question with regards to goalkeeper. Absolutely. With VR, if you're not gonna play him now, when are you gonna play him, right? You can't, like Coppa Italia, where sometimes you play maybe one game and then you're out of the competition. Hell no, come on. And Roma they need reassurances. They need more options. Why in the world would you deprive yourself of an additional option for the goalkeeping spot? It's always better when you sort of don't stack all the chips in one basket. What are we going to do on Thursdays when Roma go back to Champions League? We'll be getting drunk after each Champions League win. So, um, hoping Roma go after Di Gregorio in the summer, says Joey. Well, I think you have to take. I think you have to consider that Roma will be looking, at the likes of Di Gregorio, Falcone. Who else is out there? Carnesecchi, I really doubt it. This is a man by barely playing for Atalanta, he's still worth at least like 25-30 million in Atalanta's eyes. So, but all those goalkeepers in smaller teams, you have to take them into account. I think those are realistic options, because I doubt Roma will ever splash a lot of money for a goalkeeper. Obviously, this is in hindsight, we can also say that splashing 11 million, I believe it was, for Rui Patricio, that was a lot of money in the Friedkin's first big transfer window. Mourinho reminds me of classic baseball coach like Lou Pinella. I don't know much about baseball. I only remember that Dodgers coach Tommy Lasorda. Yeah, Tommy Lasorda, the legendary Tommy Lasorda. Because he was friends with Don Rickles, who's one of my favorite stand-up comedians of all time, and big inspiration. I guess Don Rickles is part of why I do the podcast, because I want to be like Don Rickles on the podcast. I'm hoping for some creativity today. Awar wants to prove himself. Salik was pretty good when he played. Zaleski knows he can't play on an alibi anymore. Yeah, it's very important for Zaleski to play right now. I expect him to really make the best of this opportunity, because after all those rumors, after such a poor start to the season, barely 200 minutes played all season long so far. This is the moment for him. He got that almost assist against Monza. Everything starts with him crossing the ball over to Rasmus Christensen. This could be a good wake-up call for him. With Leonardo Spinazzola potentially out, I think that's a good thing. And Zeki Salik also needs continuity. This is a guy who I don't understand. If there is one thing of managing a player, this is such a bizarre case, because Zeki Salik gets the start in some very important games, and then he disappears off the face of the earth. So, Anthony, I'm looking for some dynamism and creativity tonight. We need a spark to get the crowd fired up early. Yeah, tonight has to be one of those games where you keep the stadium entertained. It cannot be a snooze fest. I cannot bear the thought of going to record a podcast right after the game, which is what we usually do and what we will be doing later tonight with John, and trying to muster up the enthusiasm to come up with anything insightful about a snooze fest at the Stadio Olimpico on a Thursday night. How do you feel the Warriors starting the season 0-1? I think it always happens with the Warriors. They're trying to figure things out, but it's looking good. They have some good prospects, and Kuminga and Moody are responding positively. Let's see what Chris Paul can do for us. But it's also important to see Klay Thompson come out of his slump. Otherwise, he has to go to China or something. Ni hao. I'm calling it, but it's from a commercial that Klay Thompson did, where he picks up the phone and says ni hao, and a lot of people are making memes about him going to China because of that. I'm calling it right now, says Juan Pablo. Zaleski is going to have the game of his life today. Well, hopefully he can replicate that Leicester City match that he had 2 years ago. Can you think about, like, go back to the time where Zaleski was vitally important for us, where he came through, like he was playing like a veteran in that Conference League stretch. He was unbelievable for a guy who hadn't touched football in the first team. It was magnificent. Di Gregorio, top choice for the goalkeeping position, but could play his way out of Roma's budget just like Vicario did, though he went for 20. Yeah, Vicario is proving to be easily the best Italian goalkeeper at the moment, which should prompt Luciano Spalletti to start counting down the days of when Gianluigi Donnarumma will be benched for Italy, because if he's not performing as well as Vicario, then why the hell, you know? Um, you're right. I mean, when you deal with Italian teams, everybody's going to be, asking for the highest price. So, for example, Falcone and Lecce wanted like 20 million this summer already. So it's not looking good. But again, that all depends on the Champions League. That all depends on that qualification. So I may be repeating myself, but it's that important. Yes. If we finish second in the group, do we stop with the competition and concentrate on the league? Because of the injury history last season, it was Juve's last minute points deduction. This season, it's betting. I don't think that if we finish second, Mourinho's like, wrap it up, over. I don't think so. Should we do it? That's another conversation. Which is the first Roma match you ever watched? Holy crap. Well, the earliest memory, which doesn't mean that it's the first match I watched, but you know how kids are. So, like, the earliest memory was definitely seeing Cassano's pimpled face. So, you must be thinking along the lines of those years, right? Early 2000s. Yes, Cassano's pimpled face. That's that's the first traumatic memory I have of Roma, and it didn't go well from there. um, yeah, I don't remember what game it was. I just remember looking at this guy. He looked scary and he looked kind of crazy. And then obviously you had Totti next to him, who looked like a Greek god, or rather Roman god. Amazing Vincent says, I'd rather have Falcone than Di Gregorio. I really couldn't tell you what my preference is. I think these are also things so remote. And the Serie A season is very long. So these guys will be losing and gaining value over the course of the season. As always, you go through a slump and then everybody's at fault and everybody's value is going down the drain. So, guys, I think we had quite a productive preview for a game that will be going live in in 3 hours. So in 3 hours, we shall see Roma play against Slavia Praha. Hopefully, they get it done so that then they can move on and focus on Inter, which will be an incredibly hard game. John and I will be recording the podcast right after the match today, which means it will go live on all platforms and YouTube in video format tomorrow afternoon, Italian time, obviously. So wherever you are in the world, watch out for this space on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so now. Anytime we go live or we drop a video episode, you will get notified. And if you like the show and the website, please contribute by becoming a patron and going on patreon.com/Roma Press. If you haven't checked us out on all social media platforms, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram by just typing in at IS Roma Press. We'll be there. It's us. So thank you so much for watching us. And just one question from Joe. Is there one player you miss watching at Roma besides Totti and Daniele De Rossi? Yes, Juan. I always said it. I loved Juan. Underrated defender. Very, very, very underrated defender. And a guy who happened to be at Roma, I think, at the wrong at the wrong time. He deserved much more because of how good he was. Never really got the spotlight that he deserved. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to join me today. Once again, hopefully Roma get a result, and we'll see each other this weekend with a preview for the match against Inter. In the meantime, keep your fingers crossed, and as always, Forza Roma. Thank you guys. See you soon.